We take it for granted. A simple turn of a handle, and it flows. Life itself, clear and abundant. But what if one morning, it didn't? What if, across the entire globe, every tap, every well, every stream suddenly ran dry? This isn't a story about a distant future. This is a journey into what could happen if for just 7 days, clean water vanished from our world. Day 1 begins not with a bang, but with a silent, baffling trickle of air. An ordinary morning routine becomes the first sign of a global crisis. In millions of homes, people stare at their faucets in disbelief. It's a minor inconvenience, surely, a temporary outage. But as hours pass, a quiet unease begins to spread. News channels start broadcasting reports of widespread water shortages. Panic hasn't set in yet, but a seed of fear is planted. The first reaction is logical: head to the store. Supermarket aisles, normally full of bottled water, become a frenzy of grabbing hands and rattling carts. Shelves are stripped bare within hours. The sight of empty plastic, where life-giving water once stood, is the first truly unsettling image. Online, searches for water outage skyrocket, but no one has an answer. Governments issue statements urging calm, promising that technicians are working on the problem. But there are no broken pipes to fix. Something fundamental has changed. By nightfall, the reality begins to sink in. Every single source of clean, accessible water is gone. The last few drops from hot water tanks are used for infants' formula or a desperate sip. A nervous quiet descends upon cities as people look at their empty bottles, wondering what tomorrow will bring. The thirst has begun. By day 2, thirst is no longer a concept, it's a physical, gnawing reality. The human body, deprived of its most essential need, begins to protest. Headaches, dizziness, fatigue. The initial anxiety from day 1 has morphed into a primal, desperate need. People start looking for alternatives. They drain their toilet tanks, a thought that would have been repulsive just 48 hours ago. They try to collect morning dew from leaves, a futile effort that yields almost nothing. The lucky few with swimming pools suddenly own the most valuable resource on their block, guarding it with a new kind of suspicion. But pool water isn't treated, a dangerous gamble. Desperation drives people to rivers and lakes, but they too are strangely empty, their beds cracking under the sun. The illusion of civilization is starting to fray. Neighbors who once shared pleasantries now look at each other with wary eyes. Who has water? Who doesn't? The first arguments break out in apartment buildings over shared water heaters. The authorities repeat their calls for calm, but their voices are strained. They have no solutions. The world is holding its breath, and its throat is painfully dry. Day 3. The world's healthcare systems collapse. A hospital without water is just a building full of sickness. Sterilization becomes impossible. Surgeries are cancelled. Doctors can't wash their hands between patients. The risk of infection skyrockets, turning places of healing into breeding grounds for disease. Patients with kidney failure, who rely on dialysis, are facing a death sentence. Dehydration sends millions to emergency rooms that can offer no relief. The hallways are filled with the weak and the dying, their pleas for water met with helpless shrugs from medical staff who are also suffering. The very professionals we turn to in a crisis are now victims of it. Outside the hospitals, the social order is visibly crumbling. The government attempts to distribute emergency reserves, but it's a drop in an ocean of need. Armored trucks carrying water are mobbed by desperate crowds, leading to riots. The line between a citizen and a survivor is blurring. People are no longer just thirsty, they are becoming dangerous. The instinct to survive is overriding every other human impulse. The world is a tinderbox, and the spark is the lack of a single, clear drop. On day 4, the energy infrastructure begins to fail. Power plants, especially nuclear and fossil fuel facilities, rely on massive amounts of water for cooling. Without it, they must shut down. The lights go out. First in scattered neighborhoods, then entire cities, then across whole countries. A deep, and natural darkness falls, accompanied by an eerie silence. The hum of modern life is gone. No refrigeration, no internet, no communication. We are thrown back into a pre-industrial age, but with billions more people, all of them thirsty and afraid. The psychological impact is devastating. Trapped in darkness, surrounded by silence, the only sound is the rasp of your own dry throat. Families huddle together, trying to protect what little they have. Looting is no longer confined to stores, it's door to door. The search for water has become a hunt. The strong begin to prey on the weak. The very concept of community has evaporated. Day 5 is defined by violence. All pretense of order is gone. Law enforcement and military personnel are overwhelmed, or they've deserted to find water for their own families. The world is now governed by the law of the jungle. Gangs control city blocks, seizing any rumored stash of water, be it a forgotten well or a private rainwater collection tank. The crack of gunfire echoes in the empty streets, not for territory or money, but for a single bottle of liquid. The human body is in a state of severe crisis. Without water for 5 days, organs begin to fail. People are delirious, their judgment impaired by extreme dehydration. They see mirages of oases in the cracked asphalt. Their skin is dry and inelastic, their eyes sunken. The world is populated by ghosts, skeletal figures stumbling through a desolate landscape, driven by a single, all-consuming thought, water. It's a word that is no longer spoken, but groaned. A prayer from a world that God seems to have abandoned. By day 6, mass migration begins. Entire populations of cities, realizing there is nothing left for them, start to move. They walk, a great, silent, shuffling exodus towards coastlines, hoping to find something, anything. But the oceans offer no salvation. Desalination plants, our last great hope, went silent with the power grids days ago. The salt water is a cruel taunt, an endless expanse of undrinkable liquid. The journey is a death march. The old, the young, and the sick are the first to fall, their bodies left on the sun-scorched highways. The landscape is littered with abandoned cars and the discarded belongings of a civilization that no longer exists. There is no destination, only a desperate, instinctual flight from the certainty of death. Every man, woman, and child is an island, isolated by their own profound suffering. Empathy is a luxury no one can afford. Helping another means sacrificing the moisture in your own body through exertion. Survival has become a purely selfish act. Day 7. Civilization breaks. The global population has been decimated. The survivors are few, scattered, and barely human. They are gaunt figures, moving slowly through the ruins of their own world. The great cities are silent tombs. The fountains are dry, their statues monuments to a forgotten age of plenty. The ground is cracked and barren. The sky is a cloudless, merciless blue. There is no government. No society. No art. No hope. There is only the end of a breath, the final stillness of a world that died of thirst. The complex web of human achievement, built over thousands of years, unraveled in a single week. We discovered, in the most brutal way possible, that everything we are, everything we have built, rests on the simple, fragile foundation of clean water. And without it, we are nothing. Imagine holding an empty bottle in the heart of a dead city. The silence is absolute. This is the world we have just witnessed. A world that ran out of its most precious resource. It didn't take an asteroid, a nuclear war, or a pandemic. It just took 7 days without water. This isn't a prediction, it's a warning. A reminder of what we stand to lose. Every drop is precious. Every source is a lifeline. We must protect it, conserve it, and respect it. Because in the end, the question isn't just whether you could survive. It's whether we, as a civilization, deserve to. Thank you for watching.